Hey, welcome back to my channel, Helki Rain. Today I wanted to talk about working with the deity Iris. She is a Greek goddess, I believe. She doesn't play a huge part in the mythology. It was back in, I think, like the early summer or the late spring. I had encounters with Iris and she came to work with me, and she's not still working with me now. She worked with me and actually my partner Trey in a short period of time. I would say for a couple of weeks. It wasn't too much, it wasn't too intense. But what was really interesting about working with this deity is I had no idea who she was beforehand, and I never heard of her, and I didn't know her, I didn't call her in. She came to me, had me working with her and doing some work with her here in the physical, and actually more working as a channel for her to get to my partner Trey, and we will talk about that more right now. If you know of the Lovers card, I feel like this card plays a huge role in this experience that I had with Iris. The first time she came through for me was when I was giving myself a personal tarot reading one day. She came through the Ten of Cups card for me, and as you know, on the Ten of Cups there is a rainbow. She is connected to rainbows. That's her symbol, is the rainbow. I was hearing her name Iris, and then I was pulled to look in a book, one of my tarot books that I love. But when I'm doing myself a spread, I tend to not look at books. I intuit the message unless I'm feeling called to look in a book. So this time I was feeling called to look in the book, because I was like, I'm not getting anything from this card. And I was thinking of Iris, but I was thinking, am I hearing Iris or am I hearing Isis? Because my partner Trey, he works with the goddess Isis. Her energy is often around. Could I be picking up on that, even though she's not my deity? And I picked up this book anyway. Like, I just need to know, like, what is this card trying to tell me right now? Because normally I would get my message quite clear from the cards. I know Ten of Cups, I know everything I need to know about Ten of Cups, but I wasn't getting a clear message. I pulled this book, and then it has this little like paragraph or sentence or something, I can't remember right now, but they mentioned the goddess Iris. I think they just said that the rainbow in this is represented by the goddess Iris. So then I was like, oh, I was hearing Iris. That's crazy. So she's here, like she's coming through. And then I got the clarification, that deep knowing that, yeah, she's here. She's trying to work with me. So I was like, okay, I like how you're working, Iris, because I've not called on you, but you're making yourself quite clear. You're coming out in the physical, which is always interesting to me. Normally you're working with deities and as such with the inner realm, but she was manifesting physically first through my tarot reading, and then clarifying herself in a tarot book. I'm holding up this Love's card, but it's going to be relevant in a moment, don't worry. So my timing scale is going to be all over the place, because this all happened within like a week period. Everything I'm going to say that happened, or even could have been like a couple of days period, but I just don't remember the order of stuff. So then there was a moment where Trey, my partner, came to me and he was like, I was digging around in the garden, like probably doing planting or something. It was late spring, and he found these two marbles. But inside these marbles, you could see rainbows. And I was like, oh my God, this is Iris, Trey, coming through. And she's coming through to me through you now. And this is me thinking she's coming through him for me. Well, I guess it kind of works both ways, right? And he's like, oh wow, Iris, and what's more about you know, what do we know about Iris? And I said, there's not a lot to know, but she's a messenger angel, and she brings people through to the afterlife. So when someone dies or passes on, she takes them to the afterlife as well as being a messenger. And it's like goes over the rainbow bridge, right? So we often say when someone dies, oh, they've passed over the rainbow bridge now. And Iris helps with that work, which is amazing. We was driving around town, around our village in our area, and suddenly everywhere you could see irises, these beautiful flowers, which I'd never seen growing before, but suddenly they were popping up, and it must have been their time of year to be growing. But that felt like another synchronicity. So now I've had the marbles, and now everywhere I look there's irises growing. So we decided to plant some iris bulbs, and they probably won't show up till next year because, you know, bulbs need to sit in the ground for a while and then they come up at the right time. So the bulbs we planted have not come up, but we've set them in our garden. And then one day, like, Trey was calling me, come outside, and he was outside on the tractor, and I came out and he was just staring up at the sky, and there was this double rainbow, like the strongest double rainbow, and it was huge right across the sky. We're like, oh my god, Iris again, she's still here, still got a message for us. And then we got the message, and it was to create a death altar. So sadly, my cat Sage has been killing and a lot of little creatures, you know, little shrews and mice and lizards. That's his nature. But we get left with all these bodies, and it feels, you know, we were just sort of putting them out in nature, in the bushes and stuff. We felt like Iris was sort of saying, like, why don't you create a sacred space for these creatures? And so that she could work with them, so that she could help them travel over the rainbow bridge. And you can feel like, because we weren't feeling good about the animals, and she was like, so that you can feel better about it, that you can feel connected to their death and not see death as a bad thing, that death is natural, and we can come more to terms with it instead of being like, oh no, there's a dead body, we need to just get it out of sight. More like have a place where those bodies can lie. Then Iris can work with them to travel over the rainbow bridge. So that was the message she was just trying to get through to us this whole time. And it was amazing because she helped us create the death altar. So I will show you now a clip of the death altar so you can see it's this sacred place that we've created between these two cherry trees.
You can see this beautiful design traded up here. It's just a lovely place for us to call in Goddess Iris to help these little creatures transition.
I really do feel like this is bringing peace to the animals who've died, and Iris is there to help them travel across to the other side in peace and love. We can also face death and not run away from death and not feel like it's wrong and bad, but face it as it is, what it is, and this is nature, and have more acceptance around it. So why am I holding up the Lover's card? Basically, a message I've always known about the Lover's card is that you have the higher self, right? Or the higher spirits, the angels, the guides, God, whatever source, whatever resonates for you, however you see it. And then we have the man, and then you'll see that the man is looking to the woman, but the woman is looking up at the angel, which represents higher self, source, God, angels, whatever that is for you. So this, imagine, is Iris in this situation, and I was getting a direct message from her, a direct connection, yeah? But the message needed to get to Trey, because Trey is the one who created the altar. So see how he looked to me to then get this divine message from Iris, because he was the one who was actually seeing the rainbow, finding the marbles, created the altar, figured out the message from her. I was just seeing it all. I was just being a channel, but the message was for him. And even though we both benefited from it and both felt very connected to Iris and very connected to the message, I really saw the Lovers card at play. It just shows how it doesn't have to be a woman and a man. It can be a woman and a woman. It could be a man in the place of the woman. Trey could act as a channel for me. It's nothing to do with gender. It's just how sometimes spirit connects to us through other people. And it's just a reminder of that and how beautiful that can be. I feel like that's exactly how Iris showed up in this dynamic. And it brought me and Trey closer together. We are very close anyway, but we was just so in awe of all the synchronicities. And I do love when spirit manifests in this reality. It happened very quickly, and she was just there to get that job done and help us face death and help us help these creatures pass on in a more respectful, peaceful manner. A beautiful message from Iris. Loved how it came about. Let me know if you've ever worked with Iris. I hope you enjoyed this message. I felt called to share it with you. Maybe she'll be seeking you out next. Bye.